Life had never been easy for Marcus. For 15 years he drove the same city bus route, living paycheck to paycheck in a small apartment. He noticed David, a quiet 16-year-old who spent every morning riding hunched over torn library books, trying to study despite the worn-out pages. The boy reminded Marcus of his own struggles in school. That cold morning, Marcus spent his entire month's savings on new textbooks for David. He had to skip meals and walk to work that month to afford them. Marcus never told anyone about the nights he went hungry, but someone had been watching. One morning, a simple envelope appeared that would turn his quiet act of kindness into something that would leave an entire city in tears. Hi everyone, welcome to Mystic Tales. Today I'm excited to share a new story with you. Marcus started his usual Route 47 at 6:30 a.m. The familiar rumble of the bus engine had become like a morning song to him. Through his rearview mirror, he watched the same faces board every day. Most passengers stared at their phones, but David was different. "Good morning, David," Marcus said as the teenager climbed aboard. "Morning, Mr. Marcus," David replied softly, clutching his worn backpack. Marcus noticed David's torn library books again. The pages were barely holding together, with yellow tape trying to keep the spine intact. David sat in his usual spot, 3 rows behind the driver's seat. "These practice tests are so hard to read," David muttered to himself, squinting at the faded pages. During his break, Marcus counted the money in his wallet. He had saved $240 for his car repair, but something kept pulling at his heart. "How's the studying going?" Marcus asked David the next morning. "Not great. The library books are pretty old. Some pages in the math book are missing," David said. "But it's okay. I'm trying my best." Marcus noticed David's shoes were worn too, but the boy never complained. He just studied every single day. That evening, Marcus walked into Barnes & Noble. "I need the complete set of SAT prep books, please," he told the cashier. "That'll be $217.85, the cashier said. Marcus handed over his repair money. His car would have to wait. The next morning, David got on the bus looking tired. Marcus reached under his seat and pulled out the Barnes & Noble bag. "Here, David, these might help you study better," Marcus said. David opened the bag. His eyes widened. "New SAT books, but these are expensive. I can't take these." "You can, and you will," Marcus said. "Just promise you'll study hard." "Thank you, Mr. Marcus. I don't know what to say." David's voice trembled. A man in a gray suit watched this exchange from the back of the bus. He had been riding this route for a week, always quiet, always observing. That month, Marcus ate rice and beans for dinner. His car made concerning noises, but he took the bus to work instead of fixing it. Every morning, seeing David with those new books made the sacrifice worth it. "I got an A on my practice test," David told Marcus one morning, beaming with pride. "That's what I like to hear." Marcus smiled, ignoring the hunger in his stomach. The man in the gray suit watched it all, taking notes on his phone. No one noticed him, but he noticed everything. 3 weeks passed. Marcus's car finally broke down completely. He stood at his own bus stop now, waiting for the early morning bus to take him to the depot. The man in the gray suit hadn't been seen for days. But that morning, Marcus found an envelope in his work locker. The return address showed Wilson Investment Group. "Dear Marcus," the letter read, "my name is Robert Wilson. I've been writing your route, observing a research project about community service. I witnessed your kindness to the young student. Would you meet me at my office today at 4 p.m.? The address is attached." Marcus showed the letter to his supervisor, Tom. "Wilson Investment Group, that's the big firm downtown," Tom said. "You should go, Marcus. I'll cover your afternoon route. The Wilson Investment Building was tall but simple. Marcus felt out of place in his bus driver uniform. "Mr. Marcus, thank you for coming," Robert said, greeting him in a modest office. "Please, sit down." "I'm not sure why I'm here," Marcus said. "I've been studying how people treat each other in different communities," Robert explained. "I watched you give those books to David, but what really caught my attention was what you did after." Marcus looked confused. "You took the bus to work? You stopped buying lunch? You sacrificed for weeks, didn't you?" Robert asked. "David needed those books more than I needed a working car," Marcus said simply. "How much was your car repair estimate?" Robert asked. "About $2,400, Marcus replied. "I'll save up again." Robert opened his desk drawer. "I'd like to help with that, but I have something bigger in mind. Would you consider managing a program that helps students like David?" "What do you mean?" Marcus asked. "I want to start a foundation. We'll provide books, supplies, and tutoring to students who can't afford them. Your kindness showed me where to start. The salary would be $55,000 a year. Would you be interested?" Marcus sat quietly for a moment. But I'm just a bus driver." "You're someone who gave up meals to help a student succeed. That's exactly who I want running this program," Robert said. The offer was real. The paperwork was on the desk. No tricks, no catches, just an opportunity born from one simple act of kindness. Marcus sat in his apartment that evening, looking at the contract from Robert. The Wilson Student Support Program would start at 5 local schools. His mind went to all the students like David who needed help. His phone rang. It was Tom, his supervisor. "Marcus, have you seen the news?" Tom asked. "No, why?" Marcus replied. "Robert Wilson just announced a $5 million education program. Your name is mentioned. The whole city is talking about it," Tom said. Marcus turned on his TV. There was Robert, speaking to local reporters. "This program started because I saw a bus driver spend his savings on books for a student," Robert said on TV. "That's the kind of community spirit we need." The next morning, David got on the bus as usual. "Mr. Marcus, I saw you on the news," David said. "My mom cried when she found out you skipped meals to buy my books." "How are your practice scores coming along?" Marcus asked, trying to change the subject. "I got 1410 on my last practice test," David smiled. "The books help so much." Other passengers started talking to Marcus too. A woman in a nurse's uniform spoke up. "My daughter needs help with her books too," she said. "Who can I talk to?" Marcus handed her a card with the program details. Robert had given him a stack of them yesterday. "The program starts next month," Marcus explained. "We'll help as many students as we can." During his break, Marcus called Robert. "The phone's been ringing all morning," Marcus said. "So many parents need help." "That's why we're here," Robert replied. "By the way, I set up your office. When can you start?" "I need to give the bus company 2 weeks' notice," Marcus said. "It's only fair." "Of course," Robert said. "Use this time to learn your route numbers. You'll be helping students at all these schools." Marcus looked at his route map differently now. Each stop wasn't just a bus stop anymore. It was a place where students needed help. A place where a small act of kindness could change a life. Marcus's last day as a bus driver arrived. His regular passengers brought cards and small gifts. David stood by Marcus's seat longer than usual. "I'll miss seeing you every morning, Mr. Marcus," David said, "but my mom says what you're going to do will help lots of kids." "You can still visit me at the foundation office," Marcus said. "Bring your progress reports." Tom gathered all the bus drivers for a small goodbye party in the break room. "Marcus started here 15 years ago," Tom said. "Never missed a day, never complained. Now he's going to change lives." A driver named Sarah spoke up. "My sister's kid needs help with school books too. The program starts next week, right?" "Yes," Marcus replied. "Come by the office. We'll help everyone we can." Marcus's first day at Wilson Investment Group felt strange. His new office was simple, but comfortable. A young woman named Lisa showed him around. 2 applications are already coming in, Lisa said. 50 families called yesterday. Marcus looked at the stack of papers. These kids all need different books. How do we manage this? We have partnerships with 3 bookstores, Lisa explained. They give us good discounts. Your job is to review applications and coordinate with schools. Marcus picked up the first application. The student needed chemistry books. Can we deliver books to their schools? Marcus asked. Some families might not have transportation. That's a good idea, Lisa said. I'll set up a delivery system. Robert stopped by Marcus's office that afternoon. How's the first day going? Robert asked. We need to streamline the application process, Marcus said. Maybe work directly with school counselors. They know which students need help most. See, this is why I hired you, Robert smiled. You understand what these families need. That evening, Marcus walked through his old bus route neighborhood. He passed the stop where David always got on. A young girl sat there, struggling with torn library books. Do you need help with school books? Marcus asked her mother, who sat nearby. We can't afford new ones, the mother said. The library books are better than nothing. Marcus handed her a program card. Come see me tomorrow. We'll get your daughter what she needs. 6 months passed. The Wilson Student Support Program helped over 300 students. Marcus sat in his office, reviewing thank you letters from families. David walked in, holding an envelope. Mr. Marcus, I got my SAT scores, David said, his hands shaking. Open it, Marcus encouraged him. David read the letter. 1480. I got 1480. That's amazing, Marcus said. Have you heard from any colleges? State University offered me a partial scholarship, David replied, but I still need help with the rest. Let's talk to Robert, Marcus said. The foundation has a college fund too. In Robert's office, David showed his scores and acceptance letter. Your story inspired this whole program, Robert told David. We'll cover the remaining tuition. My mom won't believe this, David said quietly. She's been working extra shifts trying to save up. Later that day, Marcus visited his old bus depot. Tom was training a new driver. Marcus, perfect timing, Tom said. Tell the new drivers about your program. Some of their passengers might need help. Marcus spoke to the group. Sometimes, you see a student with torn books or no books at all. Give them our card. One small act can change everything. A driver raised his hand. I have a student who uses photocopied textbooks. Her family can't afford real ones. Bring her information to my office, Marcus said. We'll help her. That evening, Robert called a meeting. The foundation's board members sat around a large table. Our 6-month report shows great progress, Robert said. Marcus, would you share some numbers? Marcus stood up. 312 students received books. 87 got into college. 23 received full scholarships. And it all started with one bus driver buying books, Robert added. We're expanding the program to 10 more schools next semester. After the meeting, Marcus walked to his car. His old route bus passed by. Through the window, he saw students reading new books. Some held familiar Barnes & Noble bags. His phone buzzed. It was a text from David. Mom's crying again. Happy tears this time. Thank you for everything. Love this story? Tap that like button and subscribe to Mystic Tales for more. Let us know how this story made you feel with a single word in the comments.